Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining Common Sense to talk about parenting in a digital age. I'm Tali, and this is Jennifer. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. Jennifer here with Common Sense.
And we're really excited to talk to you today about how we kind of navigate this digital world. We know technology is here to stay. It brings with it a myriad of opportunities and some real challenges. And what we're going to really focus on for the next 10 minutes is how we find balance, how we know if our kids are really doing okay, and really how we ourselves can be models. And we're going to come back to this point, but being a model doesn't mean that we always do everything right with our technology, but that we're talking to our kids about our choices, about our behaviors, about the things we're struggling with, and how we want to correct or make changes so that technology is working for us instead of feeling like we're controlled by it. So with that, we're going to start by talking a little bit about overall, how you can check if your kid is doing okay. And then we're going to talk about screen time, how to set rules and these expectations, and really how to keep that conversation going. So Jennifer, we're going to start with this little checklist, which is an overall kind of well-being checklist. So I'm going to read these statements and I'm going to ask you to reflect on whether this is a yes or no for you. You can think about for both your kids, one of your kids, and all of you joining along, kind of think about this. As a side note, this is a checklist I go back to repeatedly as a parent when I have any concerns overall. So the first one is, Jennifer, are your kids physically healthy? Are they sleeping enough?
Yeah, I think so.
Are they connecting socially with family and friends in any form? This could be in person, in school, virtually.
Yes.
Do they seem engaged in school? Are they achieving in school? Do they feel excited about school for the most part?
Yes, but full disclosure, I have a first grader, which is usually the case that they're very excited for school in, ideal situations. But yes, I think they do.
Are they pursuing interests and hobbies in any form? Are there, again, going back to, are there things that excite them? They want to learn more about, they want to go to, whether it's that dance class, Roblox, Minecraft, anything.
Absolutely.
And when they are using digital media, are they having fun with it and are they learning?
Yes, with a work in progress, right? It's a work in progress, I will say. So I can confidently think I said yes to most of those with feeling good about it.
So what about how you kind of think about family media agreements and figuring out that balance in your home?
Yes. So those questions are such a great, platform to think about this whole idea of balance. So we have family media agreements. What is a family media agreement? You know what? Essentially, it's the rules. It's the house rules for media use, device use. It's just what our expectations are, when we start to give more and more screen time, more and more responsibility, et cetera, et cetera. So with these media agreements or these rule sheets, we have different areas that you can discuss with your children. So identifying screen-free zones, and those places, for example, in my house are the dinner table, the bedrooms, the bathroom. I don't know, Tali, if you can add any to that list, but just places in your house that, no, we're not using our screen here.
We actually have set it up for our daily walks to school, and that's actually doubled. I also have younger kids. That also doubles as a reminder of like, hey, we don't walk and look at our device at the same time, because that can actually be pretty dangerous. And not mentioning any names here, but I know some adults who may have tripped or fallen because they were looking at the wrong.
We're glad you're still here with us, Tali. No, but in all honesty, those are for obviously younger children, middle, high school children, older children. You might be able to open up some of those zones sooner than later, but at any rate, it's really just about setting the rules and talking about your screen time and talking about, screen time might look differently during the week than it does on weekends. And so making sure you have those expectations set. The older kids, it's really more than just, the place and the time. We really want to make sure that they're taking care of the devices and like the staying safe, the thinking first, Those are really important because in middle and high schools, when they're starting to connect socially and on social platforms. And so the things that they're sharing and posting, it's really important to set those expectations so that your family feels comfortable about, the information, your values are all represented in a way that everyone's comfortable with. Staying balanced. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm thinking too, even for upper elementary, maybe fourth or fifth graders, if you have kids playing any video games with friends, whether that's Roblox or Fortnite, and potentially as they get older and they can be talking with people they don't know, starting to talk about, okay, what makes somebody a friend? What kind of information can we share if we haven't met someone face to face, know who they really are?
Exactly. That's a good point because gaming is very popular, amongst some of the age levels. And then staying balanced, I got to say, the balancing and the routine and the expectation, it's hard. It's really hard. And you're not alone. You're not perfect. But I think my advice for these sorts of rules is you really got to stick with it and stay on it. Just like everything else as a parent, but whether you have elementary, middle, or high schoolers, that consistency, that routine, and that, constant reminder, because the more you do that, the more it's instilled with them. And then that's where just natural habits start to occur. So then it's really not talking about balance anymore. It's like them starting to feel like I had enough today, I'm done with screens today. And so just wanted to let you know this, we make it sound easy and we see that, but we know it's really hard. So just keep going. And I promise, and then the other side of the coin is, as parents, we're always, and caregivers, we're always trying to make the rules, right? But we also want to make sure that the communication is open. And so we need to make sure we're listening to our kids when they talk about, media and what they're doing on media and, what are they doing on these social platforms? They're connecting with their friends, right? 99% of the time, they really are just feeling those connections and having fun and being a kid. So as parents, we're not going to understand why. We're too old to understand why. But I'll speak for myself. But in any case, we have to listen to them and we have to kind of meet them where they are. Tell them about what worries them before we say no. Like I'm worried about this because, but if we can talk about it, let's meet at a place where we both feel comfortable. And then talking to them about their interests, embracing their world. And so, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, all those things. I know, right? But at the same time, if we can ask them for things or information they're getting off of those different platforms, it may turn their eye up and say, oh, okay, she is or he is interested. And so this, I think, is the biggest part of the agreement or rules, because this is really how you start those communications.
And something that I've learned from you, Jennifer, is you're so good with keeping these conversations going. I know you have the agreement featured prominently. I think it's on your fridge. And it's a constant conversation of checking in. It's not a one and done. Okay, we did that. You go back and you say, all right, so now you're interested in trying this new tool. I'm thinking about, you brought up the example of TikTok. Why might you want to try TikTok? What's exciting to you about it? And to your point, here are my concerns. So you're continuing to talk about it.
Yeah, they have to build a case, right? They're learning to build cases for all the things they want, whether it's a new app, a new game, a dog. We're going through that right now. So getting kids to think about why they want it, I think is important as well. So yeah, these little rule sheets, guides, family conversation sheets, visit them often. Right? I mean, especially maybe not so much for your middle and high schoolers, but just have the conversations often. But for my little learners, like we have to go to it. It's about the routine and it's about the consistency with them. And I tell you, the minute these went up, the arguing went down. Because then it was just like everybody agreed to this. You all said yes, you were willing to do this. And so it does eliminate a lot of the arguments and the debates. I'm going to call them debates.
And you're building healthy habits. And what we also wanted to highlight is we have different family activity sheets for all different grade levels. And again, to Jennifer's point, this is just about keeping that conversation going. So whether you have the routine of checking your media agreement or you just have the routine where you're asking questions like, hey, how are we using our devices these days? Are we getting enough sleep? Are we having enough family time together? We just got off, we just watched, I'm just thinking about with my kids, we just watched how many hours of TV just now? How are our bodies feeling right now? Like, let's just check in. And then as kids are getting older, of course, you're having them start to reflect on what makes them feel good. Because again, we want to build these healthy habits so that when we're not there and they're fully independent, they're making choices that are right for them.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, in high school, it becomes a lot more nuanced too, and thinking more deeply about what's the difference between active use, for example, and passive use, and how are you contributing both to the broader community, but also to your own growth and development. Anything else to add on any of these, Jennifer, before we go to the next one?
I don't think so. I mean, you really covered everything. The one thing I love about these conversation starters is communication is honestly the foundation of all the conversations we're having about media and technology or parenting in a digital age. And as I continue to do these sessions, it really is all about communication. But again, it can be really hard. It's easy enough to say, communicate with your child. Well, we all know how busy we are. And sometimes finding the time to have just a simple conversation can be really challenging for families. And so don't beat yourself up, right? And just try to start small in implementing just little questions. And again, going back to kind of meeting them where they're at. You don't have to know everything, but a couple questions a week will help show them that you're interested.
Totally. And everything that we're showing you today, you can see the link below and find, all of our family media agreements. We're going to share with you a special text messaging program that we have, particularly for parents of elementary school age kids. And then we have, a whole bunch of our family activity sheets and general overall tip sheets. If you just want to know at a high level, hey, what does media balance mean in general? What are some other issues I should be thinking about, whether it's privacy or cyberbullying and hate speech or news and media literacy? And the Tech Balance program that we just referenced, these are free weekly tips, really geared to come to you at your home, on your phone, all about, making healthy media choices. We have this available in English and Spanish, and that goes for all of our resources as well. Anything to add here, Jennifer?
Nothing at all. It's just very seasonal and timely is what I like about it. It kind of keeps you thinking as a parent and caregiver on what you could be doing with your child on media and with media and technology. So, we want to leave you with, what 3 things will you practice at home with your kids? Based on some of the information and advice and tips that we shared with you today, we hope that you could take a little bit of time and just reflect on, something that felt a little easy, something that felt like a weight has been lifted. And the one last thing I want to add is this is a work in progress, and that's what makes it really hard. We try to teach our kids these things and we expect instant gratification and we expect them to get it right away. And life is just so great, right? But this is something we just have to continue to talk to them about, model, what we want them to see. And I promise one day we are going to look back and say, wow, we did it. So you just got to keep going. You've got this.
And we can talk to them about, the changes we want to make too. I just had last night during dinner, I was like, sorry, kids, I've got to take care of these emails. And later I apologized to them. I was like, look, that was a really busy time, but I could have put it down afterwards. Then I was just in my phone sending texts when I should have been paying attention to you. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.